Hello, my name is Jonathan Story, and today I'd like to talk to you today about some of the causes and effects of anxiety and depression. I've suffered from some anxiety and depression myself. I work part time in an IT department, so I understand how work anxieties and financial situations can be. I'm also a full time student, and I've inherited some depression disorders due to genetics. And these are some of the causes and effects that I would like to discuss with you in more detail later. But before I can do that, I want to go ahead and explain what is anxiety and what is depression. Anxiety is a feeling of always feeling nervous about an outcome, such as what if this happens, or what if this scenario is going to be way worse than I think it's going to be, and it just makes you extremely nervous, and it can affect you in a lot of ways. I'd like to dive deeper into some of the causes and effects. But what is depression? Depression is, from what I'm understanding, what the American Psychiatric Association is explaining, is that it's a feeling of worthlessness or less of a care of what you were doing previously or might have cared about and were passionate about. So, some examples of this, or I'm sorry, with this said, how can this what are some causes and effects of anxiety and depression? Well, one of them is genetics, like I said, in which I looked up a study from Stanford University, and they suggest that people that have parents that have anxiety or depression are and pass them down to their kids are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop long-term anxiety or depression due to certain disorders that are passed down from mom and dad. So, or you can also say it's 20 to 30% more likely. Some of those disorders include generalized anxiety disorder or panic attack or social phobia. So, another example of how in which a lot of college students think that once they get to college that they already developed these anxieties and depressions and such and so forth, which that makes sense because of this data that was provided by Stanford University. But with that said, another example is work life. And some of you may, as far as college students, might work part time like I do. And some of the anxieties and depression that you deal with, a lot of anxiety is really due to work life, in which the ADA, or Anxiety Depression Association of America, finds that 55% of people are always stressed about deadlines, which that makes sense. I work in an IT department, like I said, and we always have to make deadlines. We always have to keep the customers updated with what's going on, make sure they're aware of what's going on in their situation. And then they also suggest that 53% are always stressed about interpersonal relationships, in which that's absolutely true. And the reason why that's absolutely true is because always have to think. You never know how that person's going to react. If say for instance, if you couldn't fix what their problem, they might get angry at you and they might blow up at you. So there's a lot of situations that can bring on a lot of anxiety, like, okay, well, what if this person gets really mad? So and so that goes on to pile on that anxiety. And they also not suggest, but they have found that 30% of people that suffer from these anxieties take prescription medications. 30% of them. So um, I have to take prescription medications myself. So that's, I guess I could possibly be one of those percentages. So, and I also found some information on how, or not, I'm sorry. I also want to provide you a cause of how anxiety or depression could be brought up, and one of those is finances. There's a study that was recorded by helpguide.com and they found this information through Hamilton University in the UK that suggests that people that are in debt are 2 times as likely to develop depression over those who aren't as much in debt. And then they also recorded some information from the American Psychiatric Association of America, or the APA, again, suggests that 72% of Americans will always stress about money at some point in time. 72% of Americans. That is a lot of us in America that stress about finances and everything. And you always hear about money isn't everything. Well, I mean, there's a lot of percentages that do. So, and they also go on to say that there's some causes of all these anxieties, of financial issues, that people that tend to have these issues overeat and abuse drugs illegally and prescription. So I hope you found some of this information informative and also useful. If you or anybody that you know suffers from anxiety or depression, please seek out mental or physicianal help. You can always Google and find somebody that can help you out with that. So thank you for your time and consideration. I hope you have a nice day.